I'm here with Travis Crystal. He's running for Texas State House as a Green Party candidate. How'd you get involved with the Green Party? Why not the Democratic Party?
The Democratic Party has lost credibility, and obviously the Republican Party is an international joke. And as a CPA and a financial man, I see that the Green Party is the only platform who has a platform that makes any sort of economic sense in the 21st century. And so I'm running to make sure that we can shift our discourse into more of a realm that is evidence and fact and data-driven based. And seeking outcomes that we can actually all agree on. There's a lot of room for left-right coalitions and common sense solutions that I'm finding that in my 80% Republican district, most Republican voters that I talk to tell me that they're going to vote for me, and nearly all Democratic voters tell me that I've earned their vote.
That's really interesting because obviously Texas is a very deep red state, and you would think, or the mainstream media pundits would think, that a liberal party like the Green Party would have no traction there. Can you expand on how the people of Texas have embraced your platform and have responded to your candidacy?
The thing that is catching on in my district is that there is a libertarian wing of the Republican Party. And our district is pretty big on that, and you're not going to find a party that's more focused on civil liberties than the Green Party. And so these sorts of issues are very important to our constituents. So things like local control, things like making sure that the federal government isn't terrorizing our fellow Texans on the border, things like mass incarceration. These actually have a coalition across the political spectrum.
And you also say that you are a finance guy, self-described finance guy. Those usually tend to be on the right side of the spectrum, or at least in the mainstream media. They say that the people of fiscal conservatism are the Republicans. The people who want to see the economy thrive are the Republicans. The bankers are the Republicans. The rich guys are the Republicans. How can you be a finance guy and still be in a party that wants to quote-unquote spread the wealth around more, a party that's even more liberal than, say, maybe even the Bernie Sanders wing of the former, I guess, Democratic Party?
Sure. Well, I think that in recent years what we've seen is that well-educated professionals are tending to be more liberal these days, and it's actually working class and people that are a little bit less educated, I believe, are going after demagogues such as Donald Trump, and free market ideology that's overly simplistic. And so even the real-life Gordon Gekko himself spoke about the velocity of capital problem and the fact that when half of our country doesn't have enough money in their pocket to spend money on basic needs, that's not good for the economy.
Yeah, he also basically said that Bernie Sanders would be the best candidate for the economy a few months back, and literally the heads on MSNBC spun in a variety of directions. No one could follow it.
So how does that translate into investing into the stock market? Is it that it's a recession that seems like nobody realizes we are in one, and certainly nobody realized we've been in one for 15 years?
Who is your nobody?
Let's move on to the presidential elections. I'm curious, we're asking everybody essentially, who you think the best candidate for the economy would be?
Bernie Sanders.
Without a doubt. Why is that?
No question.
Policies?
Well, I think it's quite simple again. If you look at something called velocity of money, you guys know what that is, I presume. Mm-hmm. That means how much gets spent and turns around. When you have the top 1% getting money, they spend 5–10% of what they earn. When you have the lower end of the economy getting money, they spend 100 or 110% of what they earn.
So one of Jill Stein's biggest issues in her platform, the thing she's pushing a lot, is that she's going to forgive all the student loan debt of the students who are crippled by it, just like the bankers were back in when the economy crashed, and we forgave them. But of course, regular people, that's ludicrous. We can't help them out. How do you reconcile that with being a finance guy? Because a lot of people say it's crazy, it's insane. We can't spend that amount of money. We can't give that amount of money to those millions of people, over 40 million people. How can you do it as a finance specialist?
Sure. So if you look at the history of debt, globally, going back 5,000 years. Jubilee is something that happens periodically. It's happened many times in human history. It's a regular thing that happens, and we, of course, bailed out the Wall Street bankers who caused the economy to crash. And so we know that there's no technical or practical reason why we cannot accomplish this. So it does come down to political will and just making sure that people understand that Jill Stein's right when she says this is the stimulus of our dreams, because not only are we talking about people who don't have enough money to spend, and therefore that hurts the economy, but you have an entire generation of people who are not in a position to take risks and be entrepreneurial because they're drowning in debt.
So you are running against a Tea Partier who wants abortion to be illegal in Texas. That is quite the contrast to you. How is that race going, and how are people responding to his message versus yours?
Well, unfortunately, on that particular issue, in my district, I believe that a lot of people don't really understand the issue, and they think that they want abortion to be illegal. That's just the reality. So when we debated the other night, he made that claim, and really what I said is, I understand that you're going to do your thing on guns and abortion, and obviously I side with the rest of the country and the rest of the world in understanding that that's insane. So what I'm really trying to do is to focus on what we can all agree on. If we're going to talk about liberty, let's talk about liberty and justice for all. Of course, it is a conversation worth having to make sure that people understand there's 6 countries on this planet where abortion is illegal entirely. So, I don't think that the constituents in my district want women giving themselves back alley abortions.
Well, I mean, you're saying that there are 6 countries where abortion is illegal. Does this guy want to make Texas the 17th country? Is he one of those crazy people that wants to secede?
He has talked openly about secession. A lot of his supporters talk about it a lot. They say hashtag Texit.
Oy, well, that's idiotic, but and one would think that is the highest form of treason, wanting to leave your own country. Do you have any extra thoughts on that?
That's an issue that is so far outside of reality that I choose to not even discuss it. I like to get us to focus on real issues that are based in facts and reality.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you.